Welcome to Power Boat Talk, the podcast where we talk everything performance boats with your host, Joe Road.
Well, hello and welcome to our new episode of Power Boat Talk. Today I'm here with a pretty wild, cool guy. He actually has a title, which I don't know if you'll ever hear this again, but he's the VP of Stunts for Dixxon Flannel. And I'm here with Jim York, who is just a master stuntman, influencer, all kinds of stuff, but spent some time boat racing with Travis Pastrana in P1 Offshore, and we're going to really talk about that, and that's what the interest is here. Also with, again, Jim's an interesting guy. He's crashed and driven and flown about everything, so we'll hear about some of that. So, thanks for coming on, Jim. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, cool. So why don't you let us know? I know you're out in Arizona this weekend. What are you up to right now?
Yeah, so we just had our Supercross party last night. We've teamed up with the guys from HEP Motorsports and the Twisted Tea Progressive Suzuki team, and they all came out last night. We had an autograph signing in our warehouse, had pizza, had a local beer company even made a Kickstart Kenny beer with Ken Roxon and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been good, and races today. So just here to chat with you for a few minutes before I got to head over to the track.
Sweet. So what exactly, what's your day-to-day role? What you do, at the track this weekend? You just hanging out and shaking hands, kissing babies, and
yeah. And this one, I mean, I got to the point where I got over sidelines, and that's how I'm sick of being on the sidelines. So that we can talk about that. That's kind of what got me into the whole boat thing. This weekend it is kind of sidelines, but I don't do well on two wheels. That's where my tagline, I'm just here for the crash reel, really came from. So I'm happy to sit on the sidelines when it comes to anything two wheels, especially, dude, these tracks are so gnarly. Watching people getting watered up every weekend. It's the fact that they get back up, will get on the bike is amazing. So, I just been a big fan of Supercross racing as long as I could remember. And the fact that we've teamed up with a really cool team, just here to kind of support that with the whole Dixxon family. And so, yeah, just going to be an awesome weekend of racing. It's a Triple Crown, so every race counts, which is always really, really cool.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Supercross is one of those sports. It doesn't matter if you're into motorcycles or whatever. It is just really cool to go watch it live. Really cool.
100%. So, all the riders are just so talented. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, how did you get, what in your life led you to being a stuntman or part-time stuntman?
Yeah, part-time stuntman. No, that's perfect. It's one of those. My favorite thing in the entire world growing up. I grew up right next to mountains, and when you could go buy a car for $50, or your buddy was like, "Hey, here's the title if you'll just get out of my driveway," because now that car doesn't exist anymore, but it used to be a thing. And I would take him straight up into the mountains, and we would just run him ragged until we had to tow him home and take him to the junkyard. And then you'd end up with a couple $100 for scrap metal. And hey, this is a business. This is great. This was before social media. You were sitting there with a handheld tape recorder that you were sliding a VHS in. And but I could have done, it didn't matter if it was on film. I just really, really had a good time beating the crap out of a car, seeing what a car shouldn't do, and then trying to get it to do it. And that was really fun. And so that just kind of kept developing into the point where we've gotten to, I found actually an old hearse, and I said, I bet I could jump this and get a world record. And I qualified as, if it doesn't exist and you jump it far enough that someone can't go do it the next day, it's a world record. Guinness is expensive to bring out, so that's kind of how we qualified that. And I jumped a hearse about 75 feet. It wasn't astronomical distance, but it was enough that it, with the run in and all things considered, it shouldn't have worked, and it did. And then got a call from actually Pastrana. I think a couple weeks later, we were filming for Gymkhana, and he's like, "Hey, I saw the hearse, and I don't think your limo is going to make it back, but do you want to jump over me in the upcoming Gymkhana?" And I'm like, "Yes, this sounds awesome. Let's do it." So found actually a limo out there. We went, I had the rear end, this thing it's a Maryland car. It's more rust holes than Swiss cheese. This thing was a pile of crap, but I run and drove, so that's all we were really looking for. The rear end fell out of it twice, the day before we're about to jump it. The rear end just completely disintegrates. So again, not our finest car, but we're able to get a world record there too and jump that thing 110 feet. And then it was really, really funny. So we get done with that jump and come out of the woods into his backyard as he was filming some other stuff. And they're like, Trav, sorry, man, that like, we filmed some cool stuff this week. That was the coolest thing we got all week. That was insane. And he did it 3 times. And Travis was like, I risked my life this whole week, and that was the coolest thing you filmed. But I think that's kind of been it for me, is taking something that shouldn't work, jumping like, or a car that definitely should not go airborne, and putting it in the air. That's what's really, really been fun for me, and where I've kind of been able to develop it into a pseudo like good side hustle, good like, you know, it's one of those. Yeah, again, this should not work. That car should never be more than 2 feet off the ground. And when you put one and, you know, you put one 100 feet in the air or whatever, you know, you jump at 100 feet, then it turns some heads. So it's been good.
Amazing. Yeah. I was thinking, I was listening to an interview you did with somebody, and at one time, I guess you were at Travis's house or whatever. And Travis said, hey, you can drive anything you want. You can crash anything you want. Just make sure you have the video camera on. So it was I'm like, at what point in your career, like, cause when you first started this, there weren't, like you said, there weren't video, there wasn't social media, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing. It was just, you were doing it for fun. And then like, hey, you know, it was the times of the Crusty Demons of Dirt or CKY2K where people were filming stuff, putting it all together. And then you had to get an editor and do all that kind of thing, where there was no real platform. You were hoping to get enough content to make maybe a video out of it and then sell that video. And that was a pipe dream that I always watched and envied, but never really could get to that point. And social media was, you know, the blessing and the curse of you're always on it and always having to do something. But it's now a platform where we have cell phones. You can literally film in HD and be able to, you know, kind of put your wild ideas out there and see if it takes off or not.
Yeah. And an audience that, you know, maybe you can get some revenue a little easier than the cut and edit and try to sell it to somebody. So
exactly.
Yeah. What about, I just thought about this too. So when social media comes and it becomes accessible to everybody's got a cell phone. So what's the competition factor? Not that you're competing with anybody, but all of a sudden your world record, maybe there's a dude out there and who knows where, it's like, I can do that.
Well, that's it. Like, I thought when I had the limo world record, I jumped at 110 feet and like, I'm good. Like, no one's ever going to beat that. And then last summer, Pastrana and my Wisconsin buddies, they're all up at this Day of Destruction, and there's this ramp and a limo. And I'm like, oh, that's not going to count. This guy's going to jump and he's going to go into like the pile of boxes or a bunch of cars. That's an awesome crash. And I'm not want to take away from it. It's insane, but that's not a real jump. And I get a video about an hour and a half later. The guy hucked it 141 feet to straight flat, but the car kept driving. And I'm like, he wins. No, that guy definitely just got that record. Holy crap. Who knew? So actually, yeah, now there's some competition for it. And I'm actually, at the end of this month, going to go and attempt to get it back down at LS Fest West with
Harley. Really?
Yeah, so going to try and go anywhere from 150 to 180 feet.
Wow. Holy cow. You already have your ride for that? You found it already? And yeah.
Yep, I've got a 94 Cadillac Fleetwood, so it has the Chev 350 in it. And then we're gonna, with a 150 shot of nitrous and locked rear end, we're gonna come around a dirt track or a dirt oval that's out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and expect the worst, hope for the best, and go fly again.
Well, good luck with that, man. We'll definitely be watching that. So then how did you, obviously, I guess you said Pastrana just called you or to get you to come and be in the Gymkhana video. So somehow that's how you got connected. You guys just have been friends since. And
so I've known, I mean, we were trying to figure out how we all got connected. Like, when did we meet? And to be honest, neither of us could really remember it. I've just it's kind of always been around from even back in like the Nitro 3D days. They crashed. I think that might have been it. And it was like a very like low key meeting. I was wrenching on a monster truck at the time. Oh. And it just so happened that it was one of those, they crashed their monster truck, needed a backup monster truck for this big, for the movie they were filming. And we just happened to have one in Utah. And so the next thing you know, we get the phone call, and I was, again, just putting tires on it. And, met them there, all really, really nice dudes, but, nothing, not like exchange of phone numbers or anything that way. But it was one of those, we kind of just kept crossing paths, and I'd see him here, I'd see him there. And then, went to a company where we ended up sponsoring one of his NAS trucks. And kind of from there, it's just been support the cause. And then he's supported it back, which has been really, really cool. And I think that's kind of what's been the catalyst, and, worked my butt off. But at the same time, you always have to have a little bit of luck to get into the fortunate position that I'm in. And so, rather be lucky than good. And I think it's been a little bit of both.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And I guess like any I don't know, drag racers, motorcycle racers, there's that fraternity in the world, and you kind of just know who's who. So I'm sure you guys, it's a pretty small fraternity, probably, guys that jump and crash and do crazy stuff.
In general is such a small crowd. You meet one guy and you've kind of met them all, which is cool. And everybody has that mutual respect of, we're all racing, we're all out there trying to just go fast, have fun, and there's like a brotherhood in that intrinsically that it's it's not really explained. It's just kind of like a tip of the hat, and
yeah. So I want to ask you too, how come you're the vice president of stunts?
Well, anybody can be the president. You just have to go a little bit bigger. Could be you. I always open the invitation. I don't want to say I'm the best, but yeah, if you can go bigger, there's the president.
Okay. So let's talk about the boat thing. Because from what I understand, you didn't have any background on boats?
Never driven a boat before in my entire life.
Oh my gosh.
Not even just like a recreational boat. I've been on a boat, but I was always the guy that we're going to go tubing. Throw Jim out there and see how long you can hang on. It'll be great. That was kind of it. So in 2020, I kind of told myself, I think all of us had a lot of time to just do nothing. And I got to the point where I kind of told myself, I'm done with sidelines. I've been supporting this cause for such a long time and been driving here and there and doing what I deem as fun. I was, doing demolition derbies and things like that, which I really, really genuinely love. But I want to get into this. I want to do moon racing. I see all my friends are these athletes, but I'm they are definitely better than me at some things, but I could probably give them a run for their money at others. And during that whole 2020 deal where, there's no sports, there's nothing, ESPN comes to Nitro Circus and says, hey, we need content. What can you give us? And one of Trav's longtime best friends, Britt Lilly, he's been racing. Everybody knows who Britt is. I forget what
he owns Lilly Sport Boats.
Everybody knows the Lilly family. You've got Lilly Sports Boats. And he goes, they get to talking and say, why don't we run an invitational? We've done it with pit bikes. Let's just go completely opposite and go, Stock Vee powerboat racing. What could possibly go wrong with throwing a bunch of people in those? So the nice thing was with no content, it was all eyes on us. So we were able to get, getting a permit for it. Yeah, there's nothing else going on. Cool, let's get that. So it was really, really cool. But I also, I was working for a sunglasses company at the time and said, hey, let's do a team. Also, can I drive? It's supposed to be this celebrity invitational. We had 4 drivers. We had initially signed up for it. We had Vanilla Ice and the Diesel Brothers, which leaves me, one spot. And I go, I see we've got this person and this person and this person. They'd all be way better than me, but I just really want to do it. I'm done with this sideline thing. And then saw kind of Evan from Black Rifle Coffee. He's like, I'm going to drive. And so I'm like, cool. Well, they've got, one of their guys running. I want to run it. I want to run this boat. Shouldn't have no experience with the boat, but I really want to do it. And I had more fun getting in that thing. And it was nerve wracking. Those things are just, I hate water. I'm terrified of it all. And again, just no experience, but it was one of those, I really, really genuinely enjoyed it. And we're going up against drivers. We've got Connor Daly out there. We've got Kurt Busch. We've got Deegan. We've got, Trav was injured, so he was announcing at the time. But you've got, a list of people that professional racers their entire lives. And then me, that I've never really been on a track. I've raced like train cars and figure eights. Like that's my experience with a professional racetrack. And I end up qualifying fastest of the slow kids. So on our team, I was the fastest, out qualified Connor Daly, but it doesn't matter. I won practice. Yay. I mean, he kicked my butt when it came to the actual race, but it was those little things where I'm like, okay, I'm not completely terrible at this. I kind of understand it. I want to keep this going. Really, really fun. And so, but that was an invitational, kind of a one-time deal, a lot of fun, but I kind of thought, well, at least I did it. Had a good time, and that might be it for me. And then, what was it? Maybe 2 months later, I just get a text that's like, "Hey, do you want to run a season in like the Stock V class?" And I literally text back. I'm like, "Hey, man, wrong number."
Oh, did you?
Like I thought he was calling like Jimmy Johnson or something like that. Like he's got race friends. I was like, "Hey, dude, wrong Jim." And he's like, "York? Question mark?" And I just write back, "I'm in. Yes, sign me up." Like, wow. Oh, this is a horrible idea. He's never been a throttleman, and I've never driven a boat in an actual race. Because when we even did the Invitational, we were racing Chicago style, so there's no head-to-head battles. Right. We're in the bay at St. Pete where there's zero waves whatsoever. Like worst thing that could maybe happen is you catch a rogue wave from a wake from somebody, and you're gonna spin. But that was our worst case scenario with that race. And so we signed up. I got in the boat in Sarasota for the first time. Trav got in with Britt, and I got in with Kevin Smith. And that was kind of our first race. We did it. We wanted to be like, all right, let's maybe not go into this straight, just knowing we're going to roll a boat over. Let's probably do this where we have at least one person that knows what they're doing and see what we can do in a race. And I was in the Mod V class. They ran Stock V. Trav and Britt won their class, which was amazing. And then Kevin and I were running second, pushing into first. And we got a red flag as the guys from Fast Boys had gone up and tripped, broke their boat in half. He broke his femur. Like it was a bad crash. And we end up having to mill for about 45 minutes to an hour. And over that time, it melted one of our exhaust manifolds, and we lost power. Held in till finished the race, but at the end of it, like we just, when you lose that much power and those boats are so competitive that we really couldn't do much. And that's a lot of excuses, but we didn't win.
Yeah. So did you have any practice time? Did you guys run the boat or?
So that's really funny. We went out for a test run and just like, let's see. And Trav's talking me up. The one nice thing about Jim, he never panics. Like there's a lot that can go wrong, and he'll just kind of head down and he's good to go. We got up to speed the first time, and I don't know how to fix this. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, just going left, right, whatever. And Kevin stops the boat and he goes, "You've been told a lot of things on how to drive this boat this weekend. You need to forget all of it and just figure it out for yourself, because we can't run this race if you're going to do that. We'll be done." Yep, sorry about that. And we kind of flipped. So we kind of started from scratch. I just had to kind of take a deep breath. All right, let's run this. Let's see what we can do. So like we get out of the, we get back to the pit area. How do you do? He panicked. Like, it was, they're terrifying. Everybody will ask, "Hey, from like this, what's the scariest thing?" And it's the boats. The boats are terrifying. Just every split second, everything can go wrong so fast, and especially with those V bottoms where you don't get to relax at all. It's even the cats, they'll kind of like calm themselves down with it's the V bottoms. They hate you, and they hate that you're trying to make them go fast, and they want everything to just, hey, we want to be done. But it's awesome to try and tame that, and really, really fun driving. Like again, I was terrified every race, but we would get done, and I'm like, I would get in the boat and be like, I don't know why I'm here again, and then get done with the race and be like, when's the next one?
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. And then those classes are so competitive with the
everybody
motors,
there is.
Yeah. So that boat, they've done everything. Yeah, they've done everything they can to make that boat drive as high as whatever they can do to get a little bit more horsepower, which completely takes away from making it manageable to drive in most cases, right? Just
100%. And then all those guys are checkers or wreckers, which I don't want to wreck. Like, I'm fine with crashing just about anything, and that was the one thing. I'm like, I know what it's like to roll over in a car. I know what it's like to roll over in this, that, and the other. Like, I know what it's like to crash on a mountain bike, a pit bike, just about everything. This is the one thing I just genuinely don't want to crash. Like, water terrifies me. I don't know what to expect, so I don't want to do it. And every 5 seconds, I felt like we were going to go
this
over.
Is it,
so
huh?
it was,
wow.
I mean, you can watch the onboard with me and Trav. We got a handful of those videos out. That's not acting at all. That's both of us just being like, oh, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. Oh shoot! Like, just running it on the edge. Both not being with like zero experience but we're both really competitive at the same time. So, it was a good. Yeah, no, we had a good run.
Yeah. So by the way, all of this discomfort that you went through and the time and the money you guys all spent boat racing, the world thanks you for those in cameras that you guys have been posting, because I think I shared a couple of them. In fact, that's how Jim and I connected. I shared one, but you've got to go look on Jim York's Instagram and look at some of they're just hilarious. They're fantastic. But thank you. The world thanks you for just those have made it worth it for all of us.
I'm glad our fear and like just complete lack of self-preservation is it helps people get a good laugh. Like, hey, look at these idiots.
Yeah, Travis has a way with words too, right?
Yeah. Oh, does he ever? Yeah. You break me down just enough to be like, oh man. But no, like, well, you're just still doing good. We still have to drive. Like, oh yeah, you're right.
It's awesome. So when you're saying you're terrified of water, like how was it when two things and what I thought about with this brand new guy getting in a boat is, so you've already said like, I'm terrified of water. I've got to go out there and race this boat where the water just, especially in a race when there's you've got the crap water plus boat wakes coming every which direction. Right. And you don't know what trim is. You don't know what a tab is. Like you have no idea. Right. And then, so there's two things I thought about though. Here, climb in this enclosed cockpit that if you roll over, you got to get out. And then we're going to let you drive, but you don't hit the throttle. So you just have to hold on and drive. Like those two things, I'm like, that had to be bizarre to you. Just like, you got to be kidding me.
This is how bad it was. When we did that invitational race, we were running the Fast Boys boat. And as I'm climbing in, I go, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. And they're like, that's all boats. Cool, where's the steering wheel? Let's go. They're just like, oh, this isn't good. This is not good. It was just, again, I learned a lot. That it was a very I got the crash course. I'm like, yeah, this is what tabs do. This is what trim is. This is bow weight. This is this, and this. But I'm like, well, that sounds like that's his problem. If I don't have to worry about it, don't tell me about it, because now you're just filling my head with a bunch of crap that I probably should know. But we'll get there. This is race one. Let's not worry about any of that. You just go where you feel comfortable, and I'll try and figure out how to get around these buoys and not flip us over.
Yeah, fantastic. And then I have to tell you, I didn't Google this. How did you guys end up last year overall?
Amazingly, we finished second in the World Championships.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Second to Britt Lilly, who, that's the battle was for second. We knew that going into it, and that's our whole season. We never got a second, and that was really our push for that final race. We got tons of thirds, but ended up on the podium a fair amount, but we really wanted, Britt would have been awesome to beat, but it's Britt. And so we kind of just figured our race is for second. And if we can close that second place and finish the season out there, we'll walk away from this, knowing we gave everything we could and did what we could to, really try and figure this out, not know going into this as complete rookies and completely green to this. And yeah, we were able to pull that off. I mean, Mother Nature kind of helped us out a little bit in that they canceled the day 2. It was so rough. We're going out there, and I need to just post that. I think I did post that in boat of like, this is so stupid. Oh, like, and this is us milling out there, and we're supposed to go and race. Like, you can't. We've got water coming in. We can't see a thing because there's so much water in there. Now it's starting to fog up, and I'm like, dude, this is such a bad idea. This is bad. I think Britt and us were the only 2 boats to even go out there anyway. So we had already kind of locked in second, but we're like, we could win. Like if Britt, not that we want his boat to break, but there's a chance his boat breaks and we could win this thing. That'd be amazing. So, but no, we were, it was a blessing in disguise that they're like, no, race is canceled. We're done here. Like, thank goodness.
Yeah. So just driving out that day, you're like, what are we doing?
We're milling going 40 miles an hour and we're airborne the entire time, just getting to the start. This is stupid. We got waves crashing up over the canopy. This is supposed to be watertight and we're soaked. Like, what is going on?
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Amazing. Awesome stories though. Awesome.
Oh, now, yeah, I wouldn't trade any of that for anything. It was so much fun. Shouldn't have been out there again, but had a lot of fun being able to do it.
Yeah. And then you told me, we talked the other day, and I guess as of right now, you guys, it sounds like everybody moved up to mod motors in the class. And so there's kind of nobody in the stock class to race, basically, right?
Fortunately for the sport, but unfortunately for us. It was kind of a, Lily Sports Boats had enough room to really only run one mod. And so that, there's no reason, like they should definitely be running that. And then one of those, we're going to see what we can put together. And if there's a couple races we can get out to this year. I know Trav's still going to go out and run the class 1 a handful of times this year. Okay. But Britt genuinely even running double duty like he did some of the races last year, but he's going to be doing that a lot more even this year. So unfortunately we're in kind of a holding pattern as of now as to like what the future holds for Trav and me getting back in the boat and to see if we're going to do it again or not. But we gave it a hell of a run, and at least we got a season under our belt.
Yeah.
And, if the opportunity arises or if anybody needed a driver, like sign me up. I'm not good at it, but I'll give it my all again, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So no hesitation. You'd be in there.
I'd be in there. I mean, checkers or wreckers. I am terrified of crashing, but I have kind of seen like what happens when it does go wrong, and like watch the video from like the boatfloaters.com guys. And I'm like, that was the other thing. I realized how on point the safety really was for everybody. So as terrifying as crashing is, I don't think I've ever had races or even like the stunts that I do have so much safety in mind. So I really, that as nervous as I would get, it was more just what happens when something goes wrong, but seeing all the videos and things, they are on it so fast. So, I mean, not to take away from it at all, it is all still very terrifying, but you're pretty safe. So yeah, if there's an opportunity to do it again, I'm not going to let how terrifying it is overpower the want that I have to get back in there and run it again.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, let's hope it works out, and somebody comes along and does whatever that takes, whatever that means to get the thing up and running again. But
yeah, I mean, it was kind of like actually with Stan, Stan the man, he ran the Fast Boys boat with me when we did the Invitational, and then when my very first race, my first Stock Vee race was at Cocoa Beach. And Trav had another commitment. He was overseas, I think at the Goodwood Festival in the UK. And so, we had to get a pinch hitter, throttleman, and I ran with Stan again. And, that was very terrifying. The waves that day we were hitting so hard, and he had a mission. He wanted to beat a handful of teams and wanted to see what we could really put together. And man, there was, I remember a couple of them climbing waves and just looking, I'm like, there's no shocks on this. Boom, like coming into those waves, things like that. And even we got done and everybody's like, we don't know what happened, but you guys were flying so much higher than everybody else. Like you guys were in the air more than you were in the water. They pull our boat up because the bilge is still running and we're at the dock. We're like, what? Something's wrong. So they pull the boat out of the water and what we can see is about an 8-foot hole in the bottom of the boat. And when we got to like looking closer, we put a 15-foot crack / hole in the bottom of that boat. That's how hard we were hitting that entire race. Cracked like the motor mounts, things like that. We took a beating that race, but that one was really fun because we ended up third. And everybody didn't give us a chance. So that one was really, really cool. And to get in the boat the next time in Sarasota with Trav, we'd hit a little, we'd bump a little here, we'd bump a little there, and he's wide-eyed. That's the one in boat we don't have where he's terrified, and I'm like, this is nothing, you're being a baby, throttle down, let's go. Of course, we don't have that in boat footage, but like that one was really, really funny to go from Cocoa Beach, which was terrifying, to get back in at Sarasota and then just have it be pretty mild, but then see Trav just not knowing what worse is like. And it wasn't calm, but like that one was really, really fun. So sorry, that was a very long roundabout way to say
that's awesome.
Pinch hitters can come in, and I'm just kind of, bring me up from the minor leagues over here racing dirt track, and I'll hop in any day of the week.
Well, I was going to say, that's kind of interesting how that video just disappeared for some reason.
Yeah, weird. Like that footage, those cameras shut off and that is what happened. The camera shut off because it was so hot and they just had direct sunlight. But that one was a bummer.
Now, how was it? Because again, what fascinates me with a new guy is the whole concept of the driver throttleman. How was it with a different, like an experienced throttleman? How did it? What was different about it? Was the cohesion good? Or I'm curious.
With him, so like it's just kind of a difference in being able to rely on somebody and or like being able to think that like, well, he doesn't know what he's doing, so maybe I'll tell him what I think he should do, and vice versa. So that's what I feel like a lot of the banter with me and Trav comes from is like, hey, go faster, go like, okay, slow down here. Where with like Stan, I'm like, no, he's done this for years. He knows exactly what he's doing. I'm just going to shut my mouth and drive, like, because anything I'm going to tell him is going to be like, he's going to like, really? Like, I've done this for how long? Like, shut up. I know what I'm doing. Where with Trav, like, he knows how to drive. I don't know how to throttle, but he also, like, it's still different racing the V's than what he's in the Class 1. So it was one of those, like, he can't really tell me how to drive, but he would definitely try.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So what's your plans for the rest of the year with obviously the boat thing's on kind of in limbo?
With the boat thing kind of on hold, in that holding pattern, it's going to be just now trying to get more into racing and some stunt work. Like I said, I have the world record jump coming in hot at the end of this month. And then from there, we just got done with the Mint 400. We were trying to, kind of hold down our record is the first limo to start and finish the Mint 400. We got that last year. This year didn't go as well. At mile 64, we hopped off a whoop, cracked our axle, shattered our axle rather, and that was kind of the end of that race for us. So rebuilding that car, trying to get that ready for either one of the NORA races or get out to at least in time for California 300. My calendar's filling up quick with just other style of racing. So at the end of June, I know I'm going to go race the National Compacts again, and then I think it's an enduro race. That'll be really cool. That's up in Michigan. So that's day one. And then day two, we go over to a pavement track in Kalamazoo. And I'm excited for this one. We get to race school buses. We get to race stacker cars. We get to do a trailer race. And we get to race semis all in one night. And that one's going to be a lot of fun. It's like a day of destruction type race. Yeah. Just got done last weekend with the Freedom 500. that was the coolest race. That was my Daytona 500. Like Trav always wanted to race Daytona. That was really cool for him. We got to, he got to check that off the bucket this year. And I got to do the Freedom 500. My car crapped out at lap 31. Just overheated and cracked my radiator in two places. But it was really, really cool. And of course, in Pastrana fashion, hey, you've got a car. And then we show up. All right, so I invited also Jared Taylor, Terry Madden, Hubert, and Josh Hall. So you're in as long as you can beat those guys in a qualifier real quick. And I'm like, dude, okay. Like, I can't say no to this, but that was another one of those, like, it's always a surprise. Any weekend you're hanging out with that guy, he'll just kind of throw something at you. You're like, oh, this will be interesting. Let's see what happens here. So we got to race that, won that qualifier, and then hopped in, got to be in it for the big show. Yeah. And, didn't go exactly how I wanted, but that's racing, as they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, just trying to fill up the calendar now with a handful of other races. Probably do another type of stunt or jump out at LS Fest, Texas. We just got to figure out which.
Oh yeah, that's new this year, right? Yeah.
Yep. They ran it first time last year.
Oh, did they? Okay.
So that's in the middle of May. They want to see how first one goes. So I'm trying to I have kind of what I want to do in my back pocket, and if as long as this limo jump goes okay, and we walk away from that one, 2 weeks after that we'll go do something down at LS Fest, Texas, and then I know Nitro Rallycross kicks off, and I think we may be bringing back the Van Prix or some kind of like junkyard series, which that's my favorite thing. We get to run the vans out at Glen Helen. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Oh
my gosh.
Again, it's a spectacle, and we had 12 minivans. Like the largest class of the day ends up being the minivan class. Of course, it's barriers to entry are a lot lower. Safety is a lot lower, but that's just really fun to be out on a actual rallycross track running just piece of junk minivans. Literally, we bought 12 minivans in this span of 3 days, just Facebook Marketplace, and got them all ready to rip and go race on a Nitro Rallycross track. And so we've got that series, I think, coming back again this year, and it's just going to be a lot of fun with at least that. And then, if I'm lucky enough, maybe a boat race here or there. Would love to run. My favorite race is probably Sarasota, just because that's the one I've done the most, but I know a lot of people hate that race. Yeah. Just because that's a long track, and the water is so varying, where you get out into like the actual, you get actually offshore in that one, and the waves are just so big, and then you come along the shore and you're, full steam ahead, and then we're going back out again. This sucks. Yeah. Just really, really cool though, and a lot of fun to race that one.
Yeah. That sounds like it would be cool, because you get a little bit of time to settle down and actually enjoy, like really get the thing trimmed up and go. I didn't research this either. What was kind of top speed on a Stock V?
Stock V, we were pushing it like flat water. Best case scenario, you're probably low to mid 90s. So not like anything crazy, but again, I always compare trying to keep the V bottom going straight. Well, I say not anything crazy when you have the Cat 1 guys ripping down that thing going 160. Like, we're quite a bit slower, but you can ask Trav, they're way more terrifying, because you're trying to keep an ice skate going straight on water that's trying to get you to do anything but go straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, the boat that size, that's nothing to sniff about, especially a single engine deal. That's good. They got those boats light and set up.
I was scared spitless the entire time.
Yeah. So I thought about something. So is there anything that you want to race that you guys haven't been able to do yet? Because you do the trailers, the vans, I heard something you guys do with some snowmobile stuff. Like, it's kind of everything.
Yeah, no, like I don't. And Trav kind of qualified it well, where he just is, if there's anything we can do that's competitive, I don't care. It's just fun. Like if I can go out and we can go have a competition, a friendly competition with friends, in something ridiculous that's so much fun. And then I take some of it, the circle track stuff. Like when I'll go race these national compacts. Like that's a little bit more of a serious race. And so those are really, really fun. They're front wheel drive, little 4-cylinders, but those things rip. Those things are fast. We went and ran those out at the Freedom Factory, and we were pulling the fastest lap times that track has ever seen. So those things move. And those are a lot of fun. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me as long as I get to keep doing what I'm doing, and as long as I'm having fun, then I don't really care what it is. And that's kind of the nuts and the bolts of it. To retract all that statement, and if we can run limos on the Nitro Rallycross at one of the stops, that will check box. I'm good. Then I'll go back to all right, doesn't matter, anything with friends.
Yeah, and the supply of affordable limos, it's there. You can find them.
It's getting slimmer. I think when I keep crashing them.
Quit crashing them and quit making it famous to crash them.
I keep jumping them and destroying them. So the honeypot's getting empty for sure. I'm on Facebook Marketplace and eBay just about every day. And like down here in Arizona, I'm somewhere new. Let's see what we got. And kind of striking out lately, especially with the old Cadillacs. So if anybody has any leads, let me know.
Yeah, and you kind of said something too that was probably, I would bet it probably tells a story of how this all got started. It's like just some friendly competition amongst friends. It was probably in a backyard, some guy on a BMX bike or something, and there you go.
100%. Like this whole race series that we're doing for Nitro Rallycross started up in the mountains above my hills, the mountains above my house, where I had just a bunch of high school friends and family friends. We all bought Ford Explorers or something similar, and we would set up just like, here's a rock, here's another rock, and here's, this is the circle. Let's go, and we're gonna run 6 laps. All right, go. And we would just kind of go for broke. Again, not filming it, just doing it literally to just have fun with friends. Like winner gets lunch for free or something like that. Yeah. Loser buys lunch. Yeah, something along those lines. And that's kind of where this all stemmed from, and just been able to keep having fun doing it and, progress. It's funny now to go with those old friends from high school and things like that. And I'm like, I'll just full speed at something. They're like, you're going to die. I'm like, no. You'd be surprised, like how well these things can take a hit, or how well you can roll something over and be completely fine. It's pretty funny. Like somebody asked the other day, like, do you have like a death wish or something like that? I'm like, no, you see like people on the freeway survive rollovers all the time, and I'm only going like 30 or 40. Like, we're going to be good.
Yeah. And I'm in a limo.
Yeah, I'm in a limo. Well, I was comparing that to like the minivan, because everybody's like, what happened? I'm like, well, there was a great opportunity to roll over this minivan. And I'm one of those, like, we're racing minivans. If anybody's taking this serious, you've clearly come to the wrong place. So I even came up to the safety guys and I, kind of mentioned, I'm like, hey, one of the last laps, this will be great for the race. The fans are going to love this. There's a perfect like ramp off of a tire, off like a monster truck tire. I can roll over. So just have your safety team kind of ready, because I plan on getting this. Hopefully I go all the way over. I'm able to go and finish. But if I can't, like, let's get the tractors there quick so we don't delay this any further than we need to. They're like, we wish you wouldn't have told us, because it would have just been really funny for our safety guys to have to deal with. But that one was fun. And
so you pulled it off?
I didn't get all the way over. I had never rolled like this before. It was really funny. I hit and it went really far forward. Instead of like, I'm in the air and I'm kind of sitting there. Like, I hit it. And there was a bunch of chalk for like marking the track. That went over my windshield, and I had blown my radiator, so there was already water on it as well. Oh. And so I can't see a thing. And I'm sitting in the air kind of like, usually the roof caves in about now. This is different. And hit, like, slammed my shoulder on the ground and just kind of like, not dead. Cool. I don't know what happened, but didn't get all the way over. When I watched the replay, I went up and it nosed in and I had cartwheeled. I didn't roll.
Oh, wow.
So the nose like went over again. And I was like, huh, that was different.
Yeah.
Not what I intended, but didn't die. So good. Let's do it again.
Wow. And then when you're talking about you and your buddies, when you started this with Explorers, like, okay, I hope I don't, what were your parents? Like, what were your what's your parents?
That was the best part. I had really fortunate parents. Just like, as long as you just get home before dark, we're good. Like, okay.
So did they have any idea you were
doing
this?
They knew. It was one of those. They'd rather have us doing that than drugs, or getting into running with that crowd was a lot better than some of the things we could have been doing. And
sure.
Hey, like my dad grew up racing stock cars here and there. He wasn't ever like he ran for a season. But he's always had a race background. We've had a car background our whole life. Like our family, I was born into restoring old Cadillacs and classic cars. So like that was kind of their whole thing. That's kind of where the limos come from. Cadillac manufactures Cadillac. It's Cadillac, so it's it's the top tier stuff. Yeah, and where they're a manufacturer of limos. Like that was, I drove a hearse through high school. I had an ambulance in high school. And then I had a limo in high school. Like these were just cars that were commonplace for my family because Cadillac manufactures these things, and we were always just they liked the classy stuff, and I liked the classy, ridiculous stuff, and it was just a lot of fun for me. And it was a great high school car. You throw all your friends in the back of a hearse or an ambulance, we all go to lunch. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, the cool factor of hanging out in a hearse. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that Cadillac engineer, right? Because Cadillac, top of the line, we make it, I want this thing to live through like a desert race if it had to.
We've learned real quick that they kind of missed the boat on that. We fried a transmission every race and or breaking axles, bending axles. Yeah. Like I really need to get to the guys over at either GM or Ford and say, listen, I know when you guys extend these cars, you're not thinking the added weight needs to go into the transmission, this, and this, but let's think this through a little bit more. And they're also not thinking that it's going to be rolling on 39-inch tires, again, trying to do 100 through the desert.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So funny. That's awesome. So tell me, I like to ask this question. Tell me something unique about you that people will be really surprised to hear about or people don't know about.
Huh. What would be that? I'm fluent in Tagalog.
Okay. What is that?
I am fluent in Filipino. Like I can speak. Yeah, I can full on. It's great on cruise ships. So most cruises, their staff is about 80% Filipino. And so anytime I've been on a cruise and I can just I'm the last person they expect to be able to speak to them in their native language. And when I can, it affords me a lot of perks of like, a Red Bull on a cruise ship is like $9. And I'll just have like a tap on the shoulder and like someone like the guy will be like, there you go. And I'm like, my man, like it's cool that way. And yeah, or just the random places I'll hear it. I was up at the Sears Tower or Willis Tower, whatever it's called now. I was sitting there and listening to this family go back and forth on wanting to get a family photo at the top. And I just go up to them and I go like in Filipino, like, hey, I'll take your picture if you guys want to go over there. And the grandpa of that family just stone faced, didn't expect it, like had to go like sit down. He's like, that was I heard what I heard, but he didn't want to accept it. So that's just always kind of funny. I call it like my party trick language of like, I'll be sitting at a table and kind of can tell if like, oh, that our waitress is Filipino, watch this, and order our whole thing in Tagalog. And everybody's just like, you're weird. Yeah.
I know that is a great, I didn't think about it on a cruise ship. That's a great party trick for a cruise ship. But okay. So how come, how did that happen?
So I, have the family background growing up in Utah. Yep, there you go. So spent a couple years over in Utah doing that. Still like family's still super into it. I not for me, but more power to them. But it was a great experience, and one of those I got to learn a different language and spend 2 years in an awesome country. Helping out, doing some good there. So it was good.
Yeah. So you did a mission.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it was really, really cool. Just one of those, again, every day, just trying to like help people out. And spent 2 years,
Fantastic.
built a bunch of schools, help people build houses out there. Oddly enough, yeah, you're just kind of running around chopping bamboo down and tying it together, and like, hey, we built this guy a house. This is cool. It was one of those, yeah. And then on like our day off, met a guy that ran the zoo there, and we would go like vine swinging through the jungle. I don't know if it was necessarily approved, but I was one of those. I'm not going to pass up on this. This is awesome. So. No, really, really cool to be able to spend a couple years over there doing what I did. It's
Yeah,
good.
no, that's awesome. That's a great thing to know about you. Yeah, and hopefully you didn't crash their carts and stuff and make a
Oh,
shambles.
no, actually, so I was never
no.
given. I didn't ever get a car, but I would help. That was the other thing. I'm not overly mechanically inclined. Both Trav and me, we'd sit there and like, hey, if the boat goes bad, like, we don't know how to fix it. Just so you guys are aware. I watched one of the first races. I came and watched Britt and Kevin. Their motor like crapped out, and they kind of jump over, and they were able to like bypass some
Ignition
switch or
box or
whatever, get the
something,
boat
yeah.
going again. We didn't have that, but that was kind of cool when I was over in the Philippines. I had enough like small engine repair that I would help people fix their trikes, fix their motorcycles, and things like that. And I'm like, well, I better take it for a test run, and find the biggest small jump I could go, and be like, yep, it's doing great. This is awesome. And we were driving one place, and one of the guys that had one of the cars, I was sitting up front, and I'm like, just don't panic. This is going to be awesome, though, as he's taking a corner, and just rip the e-brake on him, and we kind of come around a corner. He lets go of the steering wheel, and I'm sitting over there like, no, what are you doing? Drop the brake off. I'm like, hit the brakes. He just looks over at me. He's like, what was that? Get in the back. Like he was really fired up about it. I'm like, I'm sorry. Can't take the stupid out of me sometimes.
Yeah. You can't take the stupid out of you. That's good. Oh, fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, hey, Jim, so tell me, where can people find you? What's your Instagram? And
Yeah, Instagram, Jim_York. TikTok, same thing, Jim_York. YouTube is tricky, but trying to kind of fire that up a little bit more. Everybody's like, what goes into one of these jumps? So I think we're going to start to do a little bit more in and around that. And that'll be probably under American Stunt Society. That's kind of like the stunt brand that I have, as I've had to kind of go get sponsorships and things like that. So American Stunt Society is that YouTube channel. And that's kind of it. I mean, Facebook, Jim York, whatever.
Gotcha. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much. Like I shared one of your videos. You liked it. I'm like, oh, he'd be cool. I wonder if and you DM me back. And like, I really appreciate, a new guy just starting out and you coming on, and man, this is awesome. Like, great stories. This is fantastic. So thank you really a lot. And I'm going to be a real big fan and watching. Can't wait till Fest and see how that goes. So.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. And yep. Always fun to kind of just reminisce and go over the old stories, and loved every minute of that boat, and just hoping we can get back in it.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, and thanks, and have a good weekend.
Hey, you do the same. Thanks.
All right, man.
Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com.